Good afternoon, everybody, or morning or evening, whenever you're listening to this. I'm your host, Natalie Baugh, and this is It's All Light. Today, we have a special guest and one of my favorite coworkers I've ever had, Mr. Jeff Johnson. Say hello, Jeff.
Hello, hello.
Yeah, so Jeff and I worked at a company called Pupford together. He does videography and photography, which, hint, we'll talk about that later on in this episode. But Jeff is just one of the best guys I know. He was so fun to work with and just chat about life with. So I'm happy to have Jeff here to share his passions. Jeff, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, thank you. First of all, that's really generous. Um, a little bit about me. I have always done videography since I was like 13 with my buddy. My best buddy and I made really embarrassing comedy sketches when we were young, and then it just kind of turned into a career. Um, nothing. I don't know. I play some guitar. I play a lot of video games. I really like video games. I'm making a video game right
No
now.
way. That's awesome.
It's been the new side hustle, which is a lot of fun. But I also wrote a feature film script, but I have no idea how to produce it because when you producing and writing is very different. So yeah,
But you wrote the script for the feature
we
film.
wrote it though.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Well,
all done.
you shared a little bit about this with me when we worked together, but
Yeah,
Jeff is a very talented videographer and storyteller, and that's what he lights up about: videography, photography, and storytelling. So I'm so excited we get to dive in. But before we do that, let's get to know Jeff a little bit better. So he's from Woods Cross, Utah. His favorite food is a solid medium rare steak. And the fun
hmm
fact is he has 3/4 of a finger because he cut it off
yep,
the nub.
uh-huh. It's more like 7/8
I'm
or
laughing
11
because
12.
one time Jeff posted on his Instagram story his nail growing, and he's like, should I keep it growing? I don't know. It was just so funny. Also,
Yeah, yeah.
just before we dive into what Jeff's passionate about, Jeff was my favorite coworker to share my dating life with. So Jeff is married, has the cutest wife, so I would go to him for dating advice. And I would talk about my ex, and he would like spin in his swivel chair and be like, Natalie, we hate him. And just help me not think about my ex, which was so helpful. And he would approve of guys. I would have them come to lunch, come bring me lunch, and he'd be there and he'd give them the rundown. Anyways, so it was just super fun to have that support of a friend at work, and then just continue to be friends. So thanks, Jeff, for everything. And
Gotcha.
we made some fun videos at Pupford. If you go on YouTube, you'll see me and Jeff in some fun videos. Well, it made work so much fun. So
Yeah.
now we're here and we're gonna talk about filmmaking and storytelling. Oh wait, there was one more question to get to know Jeff, and it's with the exciting snow in the air, winter's coming. Jeff is a big skier, and I asked him to think of a funny ski story. So let's hear it, Jeff.
Oh, I think so. This was my first year skiing last season, and I figured out how to do most black diamonds, and by the end of the season, and so
Impressive.
thank you. I was really proud of myself, and uh, basically by the end of the season, we were at Snowbird, and I was trying to learn moguls, and I just couldn't do it. I couldn't like moguls are the hardest thing in the world,
Yeah.
and uh, I was going like 1 mile an hour. Just I was going down one, and then I would just go turn around, go down the other, turn around, go like, and I would stop at every single one, and then I'd usually fall as well. And there was just this guy that came up to me, and he stopped, and he was just like, "Why are you here?
Oh,
What are you doing?"
no way.
And I was like, I don't know what I'm doing, man. Like, truly. And then I think yeah, he just got really frustrated
Oh,
and left.
some skiers can be a
I'm
little
scared.
snobby, but
It was
honestly,
it
it's
was
everyone's
funny.
just out there to have fun. Moguls
Yeah,
are hard though. Like it's taken me
it's tough.
20 years to figure out them. But
There, I don't, yeah, I got to see a ski pass this season again, and I'm worried
wait, that's
about it.
impressive. That was only your first year. I forgot about that. I've been skiing my whole life, and there's still so many things that I can't do that well. But I haven't bought a pass yet. But I'm so excited to get up there and praying for
Do it,
powder. Woo woo.
do it.
Okay, now back to what this podcast is all about. It's what Jeff lights up about. Jeff, so you said you've been into photography and videography since your childhood. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, I think video. So my best buddy Cameron and I, we really connected through video, making just whatever. I don't know. YouTube in 2012, 2010 was just those were different ages,
For real though.
and yeah, and so we just made really weird stuff. But eventually, I remember in high school, like just sitting there and just writing a short film, and I never even made it, but just sitting there and just writing it was like it was like my outlet, it was just a lot of fun to be able to sit there and like create a story that might be able to impact somebody's life, you know.
Yeah.
Because I watched a
Oh, I
lot of
love that.
movies that like yeah, I just watched a lot of movies that really like changed how I think of things, Like Emily and I just watched a movie this weekend that it's like opened our eyes to another to a whole nother perspective,
What was it called?
It's called Soft and Quiet,
Hmm.
but it's an intense movie, and it's very I thought it was going to be like way too political because for example in one of the scenes, uh, like a girl flashes like a Hitler, like a Hell Hitler sign,
Hmm.
and then another character starts laughing and is like, "Oh, you're so bad," and then she does it herself, and then the group that they're with is joking around, and it was just kind of interesting because it's like they do it in a way that portrays it to be like not like the audience sees it and it's like it's not funny, doing that kind of thing.
Hmm.
And I remember in
Interesting.
middle school, I used to do that so every now and then because I thought it was funny,
Yeah.
But thinking back on it, I was like, honestly, like 6 million Jewish people died, like because of that sign, Like
Mm-hmm.
we really shouldn't be joking about that. And I don't know, I just think stuff like that is really impactful,
Hmm.
and so
Yeah,
for
it really does give you new perspectives for sure.
yeah,
I
and
love
that's
that.
something that I just really,
I think I see your passion of like how powerful these like movies can be in a storytelling sense because that's what people love. People love stories, whether it's in a conference talk, church talk, or just interacting with people or connecting with people. It's all based from stories. Like you connect with someone when they share part of their story with you. And when you
yeah,
create a story to teach someone, Jesus taught in stories, parables, and it just is easier for our minds to understand stories.
yeah.
And I forgot who I was talking to. Sorry to cut you off, Jeff.
Oh,
I
you're
just
chilling.
have so many random thoughts. But someone was telling me how, like, in life, like, we love watching movies with surprises in them or like turns or plot twists, like we love watching stuff like that. But, like, in our own lives, when something is a surprise or changing, it's so much harder to understand, yet we love watching that. I don't know. I thought that was an interesting thing I learned about
Yeah,
videography and photography and videos. But
yeah, definitely.
what other thoughts are in your head right now, Jeff, about this?
Well, I the other thing is I also just love the challenge of it. A
Hmm.
lot of the videos that we made at Pupford it was really hard because we're given this small room, a cheap camera, and a deadline of like a day or two. And so
Yep.
and like not a lot of things to go off of, you know what I mean? And it was fun because it's just like I don't know. I really like the challenge of it. It's it can get very difficult because I mean to make a good movie, uh, it costs millions of dollars, for
Hmm.
like an hour and a half long feature. But yeah, it's fun to see what you can create with such a small budget, though.
Yeah.
Uh,
Oh yeah. I was
yeah,
impressed with all the videos that you did and came up
thanks.
with, and I was looking on YouTube a few weeks ago just reminiscing. There was some good times.
Yeah,
While we're talking about movies though, what are some of your favorite movies or you feel like top produced, well produced movies?
I actually have them. They're check this out. I'll show you. They're all hung up. Oh, they're
Oh,
all hung up here.
nice.
Which
Yep.
is
I
fun.
remember you telling me about every one of
Yeah,
these.
yeah. They're
Nice.
one of them. But I think my favorite movie of all time is called Whiplash. I don't know if you would like it though, Natalie. It's very vulgar. I'm gonna be real.
Yeah, maybe not,
It's
but
it's
I don't know. Maybe
yeah.
I'll put it on VidAngel or something.
It's not even worth it on bidding. It's
It
you'd
would
hear
just
like
be like
half the
one word.
script. Yeah, you'd hear it's very like it swears quite a bit, but the story
Okay.
is amazing, and it was Damien Chazelle's first movie. Um, he how he did it was he submitted a film to Sundance, a short film to Sundance, and then he got approved for a $3 million budget to film Whiplash, and then his second film was La La Land, which won it tied for the most amount of Academy Awards.
And for those listening, that was the second poster on his wall. So we had, is it
Yeah,
Quiplash or Whiplash? Whiplash.
Whiplash is the first movie, and then
Whiplash.
Whiplash, yeah, Whiplash,
And then La La Land, which why
yeah.
do you love that one? Because I do love that one.
I mean, that one, that I really like it because, like, I mean, there's a lot of reasons. The cinematography is great, the acting is phenomenal,
Hmm.
the storyline's amazing because it doesn't end in like a stereotypical
I
happy
know.
ending,
I didn't know if I
which is
liked the ending or hated it. Had
yeah,
mixed feelings because I'm a very romanticist, fantastic. I don't know if that's a word. Fantasizing movie
yeah,
watcher. So I love the ones that are, I mean, chick flicks and things that
right,
work out. But
yeah.
and what was the third one on the wall?
First Man,
First Man. Is that by the same director
it's
as the other two?
yeah, it's Damien Chazelle.
Damien
Yeah,
Chazelle.
he's which is a movie just about Neil Armstrong.
Oh, that sounds good. I think I would like that.
It's
I'm gonna have to watch
yeah,
that.
and I think that's what is really cool about it because he just started making a short film, submitted to to a festival, and then he just got approved to make a story about the first guy that walked on the moon, which is and tell it in a way that he wanted to
That's
tell it,
cool.
and he just did a phenomenal job.
Yeah. Oh, that is
Which
so cool. Can we can we know what your feature film you wrote is about?
yeah, it's not as impactful, and it's kind of hard to explain because I really like indie films. Like Wes Anderson is really good. Just like weird indie films that just like
What has Wes Anderson done?
Budapest Hotel, Grand Budapest Hotel.
Oh, I've
Uh,
been wanting to watch that. Yeah.
yeah, that one's really good. My mind's blanking, but other really good ones. He has a very unique style. But yeah, my feature is basically about uh, a guy in a slam poetry club, and he meets a girl. His uncle is an author that's really famous in just a small town that they're in, and then the girl meets his name is Noah at the slam poetry club. She uh, she ends up like falling in love with him. The reason that he was able to get her to even hang out with him was because of his uncle, because she knew who his uncle was. They get really close, and then at the end, like in the middle of the in the middle of the movie, he realizes that she's just like kind of like just not his type whatsoever. She's just insane, you know. And it's like a rom com
Interesting.
goes south.
Oh,
So
that actually would be very intriguing. I'd be interested.
I think yeah, I think it would
Well,
be
if you need
fun.
a leading lady, I do some acting.
I know you do. I know you do.
Very
100%.
poorly, but I think
Yeah.
it's so fun to be in front of a camera. I mean, hence part of the reason I do this podcast. I
Yeah.
don't know. I don't know if it's my ego or it's just fun. I don't know. I grew
Yeah.
up doing plays and musicals and stuff like that, so I think it stems from that too.
No, it's totally
But
fun. I stream, on Twitch a
oh
lot.
yeah, so
I don't even wanna do it for fame, but I just like talking to people,
yeah, so
you know?
I should have had you meet George. George is the one who helped set up this podcast for me. He streams
Yeah.
on Twitch and is like top 10. So like
I wanna
you
see
two would
his
totally get along.
I wanna you should send me
Yeah.
his link to his
Oh,
Twitch.
I for sure will. I forgot about that connection that you both have. So,
Yeah.
anyways, that's fun that you're passionate about video games. I remember that. And you said you're animating for a video game right now?
Well, I'm actually so, like, 3 weeks ago, I've been no-lifing this, Natalie. Like, I've been no-lifing. I
What does
all of
no
my spare
lifing
time
mean?
it
Like
means
you
all
don't
of
have a
my spare
life?
time has gone to this. Like, all of
Wow.
my spare time, I've been, like, staying up till 2 a.m. making a
Oh,
video game.
wow.
So I learned, like, a game development software, and I think this comes from the storytelling aspect because with a film, you need a large budget, with a video game, you if you it just takes a lot of time and knowledge.
Hmm. This
So,
it's cool learning about people's
that's
passions regarding video games because that is just not something I'm familiar with. But
yeah.
tell us a little bit more about it.
I mean, well, gaming is honestly, in my opinion, I mean, I grew up playing games all the time too, but it's also just it depends on which game, obviously, because there's games where you just shoot people in the head and it's like candy, which I also love. But I, I mean, like Legend of Zelda, Ocarina of Time, like phenomenal storyline.
Hmm. Game of
I mean, there's just
Thrones. Isn't Game of Thrones a video game before a show? I don't even know.
was it? I think you might be thinking of The Witcher.
I wish I
Game of
knew.
Thrones was a book before
I've
the
like
show.
played Halo once, but my version of a video game is Super Smash Bros. And
Yeah,
the old Nintendo Mario Party
yeah.
and
Those are all great.
Mario Kart.
I love them. I love them. I love them. Yeah,
Oh,
but, there's
cool.
just been a lot of video games that have been like I think Portal 2 was a really, really good one too. I
Mm,
like it because it's like a story that you interact with,
mm.
which is which is fun. I don't know.
Well,
I'm
this
just
is
passionate
cool.
about sports.
So, what's the expected timeline on this? Or are you just working on it until it's
So,
done?
I wanna have it on Steam in 5 months is the goal. Which Steam is
Steam.
like
Up.
Steam is, it's like how the number 1 most, uh, best way to, like, distribute video games on PC.
Oh, cool.
Instead
Steam.
of a GameStop, you just go to Steam, you know?
This kind of reminds me of Free Guy. Did you like that movie? What are your thoughts on that movie?
That movie was funny. I liked it.
Okay, good,
It's
because I
good.
like that one too, and I always like to verify that the movies I like from like a film perspective are good too.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, no, I
It's
thought
fun.
that was pretty fun, and Ready Player One too. That one was super
That one was
interesting
good. I
about
actually liked that.
VR. I
Yeah,
have it, and I've only seen it once, but I'm wanting to watch it again.
it was
Virtual
good.
reality is super fun sometimes too.
Yeah,
I
definitely.
almost broke my uncle's though because it was like a game where you're like in this canyon and there's these spiders and I hate spiders. But I was like, I'm gonna try it. And then like the spider comes at me and I like don't know what I did. I think I like tried to throw the mask off and almost broke it. But
Yeah.
it's amazing how like it puts you in that situation. But I love that I never really thought about Zelda or video games like that having like a storyline. But I think
Yeah,
that's cool. It's kind of like Dungeons and Dragons too. Like I wrote a paper on it and then my friend just like threw me in and I played it one time. But it was so fun because it is a storyline and it's a storyline
yeah,
that you're like a part of through chance and I think more people would love it if they tried it and if it didn't have these crazy stigmas. There's also a
yeah,
Dungeons and Dragons movie coming out, which is going to be interesting. But sorry, what are your
yeah.
thoughts, Jeff? Let's hear more from you.
Oh, no, you're good. Sorry, I this is something that I have a ton to say about, you
Let's
know?
hear it.
It's I mean, because the video games, like, I remember telling a couple of my really good friends that I was gonna stream a few years ago, and I feel like gaming there really does have just, like, a really bad stigma, but, like, if you play I don't know, there's definitely games that deserve the bad stigma, though, like, don't get me wrong, but, like, it really is, like, something that's given a lot of people a very big like, a large outlet, you know?
Mm.
Like, it's instead if people don't like reading books and and they like video games, I feel like it's the same thing. I mean, obviously not, like, it does different things different or whatever, but, like, you're still getting, like, an impactful story at the end of the day, you know?
I
And
like this perspective.
people get, like, very frustrated with video games because I've heard, like, the number 1 most insane reason to me, people always say, like, the people that I was telling that I was gonna start streaming, they were just like, "Dude, like, why don't you just do something more productive with your time? Like,
Ooh.
what in the world? Like,
Hmm.
why don't you just, like why don't you do something that's, like, worthwhile?" And
Aw.
this came from a person that sat in their room and watched 8 hours of Netflix a day, you know?
You're
Like,
like,
it's
you're one to talk.
of course it's a waste of time, but, like, it's an enjoy like, as long as you're enjoying it, I don't think it's a waste of time.
I think
It's just
that's
if
true. Yeah.
I think it's more productive than watching TV in my opinion, because
'Cause
'cause
you're
you're at
like
least, like,
doing something, you're
interacting with the person.
engaging. Yeah.
Yeah,
And I know a lot of people play video games to connect with their friends, or you can do it if
yeah,
your friends live out of state. Like, I think there is more good, and I think it could have a better stigma for sure.
yeah, yeah.
So
But I
give
mean,
it
it's chill. Okay.
oh, go ahead. It's you said it's chill, I don't care.
Yeah, that's it.
So I'm curious more. Tell us a little bit more about why storytelling is so important. And if you have an example of like one of these video game stories or like what in a storyline is so important.
I mean, you said it earlier, like, even Jesus taught in parables, you know?
Mhm.
I really think that, like, I life is kinda monkey see, monkey do, you know what I mean?
Mhm.
Like, you see somebody do something and you're like, "I wonder how to do that." I wonder how somebody does that, and then you just watch I don't know, if you can watch it, typically, unless if it's, like, skill based, then you can do it, you know?
Mm.
And I think
You
story
live that for
I
sure.
do. I
Like
do.
me and Jeff would take work breaks and play chess and he just like all of a sudden was like, I want to get better at chess. And he would just play it. We'd also do typing tests with little race
Yeah,
cars online.
it's
But
funny.
yeah, I don't know. I feel like you're a go getter. Okay, keep going. You had some more
Thanks,
thoughts.
appreciate it. No, but I just, like I don't know, I think storytelling is, like, a way to really, um, learn from somebody else's experiences, you know? And it's a way to learn just, like, an impactful, thought,
Yeah,
which I just think is fun and
you can resonate with it more.
yeah, definitely,
Oh, I love that.
for
So,
sure.
what makes a good story?
It's a good question. I don't know. That's a I feel like there's a lot of answers to that, but I would say a big one is just the moral, right, at the end. Because, like you said, you didn't like the moral of La La Land, that life moves on and you want eternal
Oh,
love to be a
oh,
thing, you know?
well, I did like it, and I think I
Yeah,
didn't
right,
like it
right,
because it is true. It's reality, and
right.
like not all relationships or people you love will work out, you
And that's
know?
why I liked it, you know? The
And
moral of the story was great.
the more we talk about it, I think we need more like that, honestly.
Yeah,
My dad
yeah,
always accuses me of being like, life's not a movie, Natalie. And I'm like, well, it can be because I'm like always wanting these romanticizing moments and he's like, your expectations are way too high because you watch too many movies, Nat. And I'm like, okay, maybe that is true. But I'm like, maybe I need to watch different movies that are like La La Land show you show you life as it
the
is in
dark
a
side.
sense.
Yeah,
Jeff,
right.
did you ever see that movie on Netflix? It was like a movie that played this girl's life in two ways. It was like going back and forth between if she had gone one way or if she had gone the other way, and they played both sides of the movie at the same time.
No,
I don't know. I feel like you would like it because I thought they did a really good job at telling the story. But at the end,
uh,
you see her kind of end up in the same place and like she learned whatever lessons she needed to learn, regardless of the life choices that she made. Like, it was
it's cool.
really cool to see those side by side, and it kind of reminded me, like, you know what? Like, whether I take this job or this job, like, I'll learn the lessons I need to learn regardless of the situations I'm put in. And then in the end, there will still be the same moral, and I'll still become who I need to be. I don't know. I think that's
Yeah,
cool that when you view your life as a story, you start to like piece things together a little bit better and accept reality, which is something I struggle with.
yeah. No, definitely. No, I feel you. I mean, I don't think that's a bad thing, though, because reality is ugly.
Oh, I know. Hard truth, but I don't know. I
Yeah.
feel like once you finally accept reality, then life just becomes so much better. What do you think?
Yeah, I feel that, definitely. I
So,
agree.
what's your favorite part in stories or in one of these movies by, what's his name? Damien Chazelle?
Damien
Right?
Chazelle? Yeah.
Yeah. Like, what's the favorite part of like how he tells a story that you like and you could tell us more about?
Whiplash, for example, I really like it. I mean, I think I might just like extreme situations
Hmm. Hmm.
because Whiplash is pretty extreme. I don't know, that's a good question. Um, trying to think. I think, my favorite part is it's tough. I don't know. I don't know, Natalie.
Okay,
I'm not sure.
maybe we can circle back to that question.
Yeah, that sounds good.
But another question, why should people care about this? Like what is a takeaway listeners can ponder and I think even just thinking about stories in general is helpful, but what would you say from your passion and sharing it? What would people know? Should know.
Um, I don't know. I would say anybody can appreciate a story and everybody should, you know? And everybody can make stories as well.
Yeah.
I think, like, the biggest thing is just creating. I think
Ooh,
everybody likes to be
yes.
creative, you know?
Yes,
Everybody
I love creating.
yeah, everybody likes it, you know?
Mhm.
There's a single like, it's like one of the I don't know. It's like one of the reasons we're here is to create things, you know?
Amen.
And make things happen, and if you don't create stuff your whole life, then, I mean, in my opinion, what kind of life are you living, man? Create something, you know?
Yeah,
Do
create the
something
life you
fun.
want and keep
Yeah.
creating. I think people sometimes think of, "Oh, I'm not creative" because they're thinking of Pinterest do it yourself projects, but
Dude, I am not an artist. I straight up am awful. Like, you tell me to draw a stick figure, I can barely do that right, you know?
Yeah, you can animate and design amazing
Yeah, it's like
graphics.
even then, I can't design anything. I can't I'm not I don't know,
That's not true.
but
But
it
I don't know.
fits.
I feel like even being creative, like a finance guy can be creative in
Totally.
designing a spreadsheet, or
Yeah,
an architect is an artist too. But I don't know. Like I feel like every profession is creative.
yeah,
My dad's a dentist, and he once was like, dentistry is an art. And I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. Like, use
yeah,
special instruments and you configure things, and you're creating this thing in people's mouths, so to speak, or creating ways to make teeth come together, or so on and so forth. I really don't know much about that, but I don't know, why do you think it's important for people to be creative, Jeff? What does that do for you?
I think if you're not creative or creating things, I just feel like you I don't know, that's a good I just feel like I can't imagine my life if I didn't try to create things. I
Mm.
feel like I would just be like this depressed, bored guy in a bedroom doing nothing my whole life, you know? Like, I just feel like, it's important because you can impact somebody's life and you can be impacted, you know?
Yeah.
And I think that's all there is to it. I
So
think
do you feel
you can
like
be
the more creative you are, you said to be impacted by, do you feel like the more creative you are, the more you can recognize the impact others are having on you?
Yeah, I think so, yeah, definitely.
And why do you think it works that way?
Hmm. I mean, I think that you just, like, learn through the process and learn through other people's thoughts, you know?
Mhm.
I feel like I don't know. I feel like, when you create something and people enjoy it, it's like it can, like, really just change your perspective on people in general or something. I don't know. It's a good
Hmm.
question, but
Well, and you can tap into why different people think the way they do or how they view things. I think sometimes
yeah,
talking about movies is really fun too, and be like, "Oh yeah, what did you think about this?" And then you can see how they viewed it, because we all watch and take in media with our lens of our background, how we were raised, how we view the world. And so everyone is viewing things differently. So when we kind of get behind the purpose of things, I feel like then we view them as they are meant to be viewed, in a sense, in their authentic way. I don't know. These are
yeah,
You were sparking some interesting thoughts in my head that I've never really tapped into with storytelling and movies.
yeah.
Hmm.
I
So what?
got you.
So when you create a video, Jeff, what is your favorite part of that process?
Well, I think it depends on the video that I'm creating.
I like how you said
Um,
it's a problem though, or like it's fun to try new things and solve a problem. But what
yeah.
else?
Um, let's see. I think my favorite thing about creating videos is like I really enjoy the process.
Hmm.
Most like just the overall. I like the brainstorming phase where you just decide like what video am I going to make and what do I want people to make like get out of it at the end. You
Yeah,
know?
I think that's my favorite part.
Yeah, I like that. Shooting is fun. It just depends on the video though. I don't know. I shot this watch. Did you see the watch commercial? I
Yeah, that
think
was
you did. Yeah.
awesome. I'll put the
Thank
link
you.
in the show notes, guys. It was way cool.
Oh, shucks. Thanks.
I also
Um.
loved your dancing video that he
Oh,
recorded two people dancing. It was really beautiful.
yeah. That one was fun too. Yeah. See, I don't know. I think it just kind of depends because the watch commercial was like there was a lot of brainstorming and like thought that went into how that would play out.
Hmm.
And then the dancing video was fun because it was just like they already had it figured out. I just got to go and
Just
like
gotta
document
film
it.
him.
You
Yeah,
know.
you were good at documentaries too. He's done a handful of those
Oh,
as well.
thanks.
And what's your film company called? He has his own film company.
Oh, the Reef.
The
The Reef
Reef. The
Productions.
Reef Productions. Yeah, so if you need videos, Jeff's your guy, honestly.
Yeah.
He's self-taught, and I mean, like you said, he's been doing this since he was little. And I love that your passion has grown, and it has grown into your career, because
Yeah.
when
Thanks.
you love what you do for work, it just makes your life so much better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
Oh, Jeff, this was really cool. Um
good.
And in your form
It
you filled
was.
out, you mentioned that there's problems with corporate videography. Do you have any thoughts on that before we go back to our uplifting takeaway?
I mean, it's just really fun to be able to, like, be creative and tell a story, I think that's where my passion lies, and I think that's where a lot of creators' passion lie,
Yeah.
and I think corporate always has, like, a sales mindset, Get as
Mm.
much done as you can for such little money as in such little time as possible, and I think being creative takes time and is a process,
Yeah.
and so people expect you to make a Hollywood movie overnight, you
Yeah.
know,
Well, you look
and
at our world. The world
um,
is video now. TikTok,
yeah,
Reels, YouTube Shorts, I've
yeah,
discovered. Like
right,
it's all video. Every commercial's now in a real TikTok form. And like you said, I think some TikTokers don't get enough credit for how much time and work they put into making their videos. Like
yeah,
I have only made a few TikToks and it's really hard and they put in tons of
it's
time and effort and do
yeah.
cool effects and they're creating mostly good content. But
Yeah,
I don't know, it's just really cool to see people tap into their creativity. And I think in one of my other podcasts, someone talked about just focusing on the good versus the bad in the world. Oh, it was in the my chat with Nat episode about like these life lessons, and it was find the good in the world. So, everyone's bashing on how much time TikTok takes away from their lives and it's bad for you and social media is bad for you. And I agree to that. But at the same time, if you look for the good, it's good that these people are becoming so creative and they're getting off their couch and they're dancing or they're making special effects. So it is really cool to view that in a more positive light. So I feel like that's my takeaway. Like see a new
mhm,
perspective in the video game world, in the movie world, and focus on the storytelling aspect and the impact it's having in your life. Whether that's getting rid of bad media that's impacting you and putting in better media. But then also I love that in your form, Jeff. You said just do stuff you're passionate about. You've been doing this your whole life and you have fun with it and you've made something out of it and you're continuing to learn and grow and you are not afraid to do new things. So that's my takeaway from today. Do you have any last thoughts, Jeff?
I don't think so. I think this podcast is awesome. I love it.
Thanks. It's so much fun.
Yeah,
It's fun
thank you
even
for having me.
even if no one listens, I love just talking to my friends and catching up and hearing what they love because
Yeah,
I feel like it increases relationships and just helps us like I learned something new today. Like that's the goal. So I hope you did too. Everyone, thanks again for listening. Spread the light and light the passion. Thanks, Jeff. See you
thank
guys.
you.
Bye.
Bye.